Joining us now to discuss this a bit closer, former Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. Good afternoon, Matt.
Good to be with you.
All right, so how convenient the archivist is saying that it is up to Joe Biden himself and Barack Obama to now approve this. I mean, this really smacks in the face of what we just saw with David Weiss being appointed special counsel. They always are able to insulate themselves to transparency.
It's really extraordinary, isn't it? One of the things that we should expect from Joe Biden, because he's been caught. You know, he said he had nothing to do with his son's business dealings. That's been dismantled. A group I'm associated with, America First Legal, I'm on the board of directors, has posted 1,000 emails on their website that demonstrates how closely intertwined Hunter Biden and Vice President Joe Biden were as it related to Ukraine. And obviously, those meetings that were tipped off and those phone calls that were tipped off, that matters. And what it matters is that, Hunter Biden was given important information to share with his contacts and his, people that were paying him in Ukraine to show that he had access, to show that he had the ear of his father, who was vice president. I mean, this is, again, this keeps exploding. And Joe Biden has to get in front of a microphone, say he's going to be fully transparent and let the chips fall where they may, because right now there's so much unknown that he needs to clear the record and make sure that the American people understand everything he was doing as vice president.
Well, you would think if there was nothing to hide, that's exactly what one would do and say, here, this is what what we have. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, of course, has been pressing for a lot of this. Here are some comments he made to us here on Newsmax today.
At any time, without objection, Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, Mr. Jason Smith of Missouri, is waived onto the committee for the purpose of making an opening statement.
He was saying, my job isn't to impeach. My job is to get the facts for the American people. And the facts are that they have been stonewalled. And this as former acting attorney general. I mean, just getting those financial records from the Treasury was more difficult than it needed to be, because the law, in fact, was changed the first day Biden took over as president, Matt.
In turn, Congress has been frustrated with their very important oversight responsibility, and their power to subpoena is fairly absolute. They should and are able to get whatever documents and information necessary to conduct their constitutional oversight powers and responsibilities. The fact that Joe Biden is not just saying, here's all the information, you can have it, I got nothing to hide, that tells you that he's got plenty to hide. And unfortunately, they're going to have to peel it back layer by layer, as you would expect in an investigation that ultimately could lead to impeachment.
And it may be a long ways ahead. I do want to get your reaction to the breaking news that we were coming on the air with. First off, Georgia Governor Kemp saying that there's going to be nothing that could actually have a special session, legislative session, although Georgia Senator Colton Moore has been pushing for that against Fani Willis. What do you think of Governor Kemp shutting that down? Basically, during a news conference yesterday, he said despite his personal feelings about this, he doesn't have the authority to call that.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Kemp, certainly no one expects him to stick his neck out for Donald Trump or try to, put his thumb on the scale of that case. That being said, there are many in Georgia who I've talked to, or read about that are disappointed in the governor and think that this district attorney needs some oversight and accountability from the legislature, because she appears to have abused her power and her authority as a prosecutor.
We know that still is moving forward. Finally, before we let you go, there's this new book on Joe Biden called The Last Politician. It's due out next week, but the excerpts are already here, and they're pretty fascinating. Biden reportedly was fuming that his staff treats him like a toddler. The book reports that, he was upset, saying, was John Kennedy ever babied like that? So a lot of the headlines coming out here already talking about him feeling tired amid age concerns. And Matthew, I mean, of course, this is what Americans feel. I mean, we know the poll came out, many people saying he is too old. What do you think that the fallout will be from this book and some of the revelations in it?
Yeah, I think this is going to give a pretty clear picture as to what's actually going on in the White House, why he has a very limited, restricted schedule, why they don't give him an ability to sort of be a freewheeling politician and commander-in-chief like everyone expected, because he typically lacks discipline, as we've seen throughout his decades in public service, but this White House seems to have him clamped down and limit his schedule so that he can have as few unforced errors as possible, and he still gets in his fair share, no doubt.
Yeah, he sure does. Matthew Whitaker, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, good to see you.